So let's continue our lesson 8. Lesson 8 we are going to meet our data engineer, and we are going to understand the data and how the data is stored in databases. So, and also we are going to learn what is a database, okay, and tables, rows, columns, primary keys, foreign keys, relationship, data types, SQL queries, and data validation. So we are going to use DB browser for SQLite. So we are going to quickly download this one. So it's a very lightweight, and you can practice. And we are going to find answer from Google, the whatever I mentioned, like what is a database and everything. And then we are going to do some lab. We are going to open our SQLite, and we are going to create a new database, and we are going to table, and we are going to execute some queries which we need for our dashboard. Okay, so that's the agenda for today. Let's get started without further delay. So I'll jump into lesson 8. So lesson 8, our main agenda to meet the data engineer and understand the data mapping. Okay, so let's continue with our story. So today is our fourth day as a new lead business system analyst. So far we have understood the business problem and gathered requirement, written the BRD, created functional requirements, learned system architecture. Today you will meet one of the most important people in a banking project, data engineer. So because in banking everything start with data, right? So data driven, all the decision made data driven. If the data is wrong, the reports are wrong, right? So if the reports are wrong, the business decisions are wrong, and bank will lose customer. Okay, so because the decisions inside will cost money. So today your job as BSA, understand where data comes from, how it moves through system, and how to validate it before development begin. Okay, so we are going to meet 9 a.m. So we are going to meet Rachel, our data engineer. So you arrive at Rachel's desk. So she has 3 monitors open, just to give an idea. Okay, so one shows database table, one shows SQL queries, the third shows architecture diagrams. So Rachel smiles. Welcome. Today I am going to show you how mortgage data reaches the credit risk reporting application. So you grab your notebook. Okay, so where does mortgage data come from? So Rachel open a diagrams. She explained, when customer applies for a mortgage, the mortgage origination system create the application. You remember the architecture, right? So once approved, the core banking system store active mortgage. That's the second step. So customer detail come from customer information system. So this the CRM. Customer demographic data come. Okay, the property details come from collateral system. So our credit risk reporting application combines all of these information into one place. It's a data warehouse, right? Because we need to have multiple data from different sources. We need to keep it in one database. That's a data warehouse. So the common area, so that we can query and we can build reports top of that. Okay. Mortgage origination system, core banking store the detail, customer information, CRM, collateral system, we have property details. So this is the integration layer, risk reporting database. From here we are building the dashboard. So okay, so each system owns different piece of information. So our job is to bring everything together. Okay, so data mapping. So there will be question like if you are applying for BSA job, right? Any other BA job, the interviewer might ask you, have you worked on data mapping? Do you know what is data mapping? Can you tell me example? Okay, so we'll deeply understand what is data mapping here. This is called data mapping document. So what is data mapping? So C reply, it tells the developer exactly where every field comes from. So let me make this one big so you can understand data mapping clearly. So imagine you have bottle A. Okay, bottle A, we have bottle B. Okay, so bottle A, you have some candies. Okay, so here we have Candies, you want to transfer this this Candies bottle A to bottle B. Okay, so that's your task. So bottle A, unfortunately, it's a rectangular bottle. Okay, the candies are in rectangular shape. Okay, but here, unfortunately, it's only fit circular type candies, but it's the same data, only the shape is different, right? We can call as format is different, shape is different. Somehow we need to fit in. Data mapping is nothing but transferring data one system to another system. So see here, this is the source system where the data is generated, right? Here we call this field mortgage ID, mortgage hyphen ID, but in the dashboard we call mortgage number. So we give a link, like even though label different, right? Like a bottle A, bottle B, but the data is same data. We just need to reshape it. So if the data candy is in rectangular format, you need to melt it and transform into circular, whatever is your end system accepting, and you need to transfer, right? So here one more example: customer information source system. Source field is showing customer name, right? This is a field name. Here it's saying customer name, hyphen is there. Here is saying current balance, source system, but downstream is saying outstanding balance. Same, days hyphen past due, past day. Property value, it's same property value. So data mapping is the same important exercise when you are doing user stories. So you need to mention in your user stories what is the data mapping for that particular field. Okay, so if developer don't know where the data comes from, the source system, right, and they cannot build the application, they need to link this one to the destination, right, the downstream. So as a business system analyst, you're responsible for validating data mapping within the business and technical teams. So your first SQL query, Rachel. Now let's look at data. Okay, so she opens SQL. Don't worry, you don't need to become SQL developer. So you simply to understand what you are looking for. Okay, so she types select mortgage ID, customer name, current balance, past due from mortgage table. So rows appears on the screen. Okay, so we are going to do this lab. Okay, just listen. So we are going to do same thing. So rows open. So select we use to fetch the data, read the data, right? So you recognize same mortgage record discussed during the requirement workshop. So Rachel says the query retrieves mortgage information from the database. So you use the select what fields you need and you give what the database name is. That's it. Very simple. So validating the business rule using SQL. So Rachel asks, remember the business rule, right? So what's the business rule? More than 90 days past due, we flag as high risk. That's the business rule, right? So exactly. So let's how to write this one. So you get the same data. So we need to apply where condition. Where is nothing, but it's a filter, right? It's just the rule, right? So we are saying where condition keyword days past due greater than or equal to 90 days, and you only get the past due data more than 90 days. So that's the business rule. So SQL is not just for the developers, just to understand. Okay, so anyone can use business. Anyone, you don't need to have a big technical knowledge. It's just sometimes you don't need to build the query. You can ask AI or you can ask your developer, but it's easy to build it. So probably you can ask developers, they can give you, so you can fetch the data and you can execute. Okay, but I'll show you how to build your SQL queries also. So investigation data quality. So Rachel changed the screen. She says now let's look at the bad data, look for bad data, right? So select mortgage ID, customer name from mortgage, where customer name is null. So one record appears, the customer name is missing, right? So here we want to include, but this is exception, right, for reviews, but we need to include, right? So the customer name is missing. Rachel asks, what would happen? Remember the requirement workshop. That's what I example. The mortgage should still appear in the report, but still must flag for investigation. So that's the query we will be using. Developer will be using. Okay. So the business requirement become data validation rule also here. So find duplicate records. Okay. Sometimes the same mortgage accidentally appears twice. Okay, so we can run select mortgage ID count. We are counting from mortgage group by mortgage ID having count greater than 1. So no duplicate record found. So that's a query. So you don't need to worry. In case if you want to double check, you can check also. Okay. So this is one of the first things we check during the data validation. So we want to avoid duplicate also. We want to avoid record null, but we want to include in the report, but somehow we need to flag operator should review. Okay. So tracing a single mortgage. Rachel opens to mortgage M1002. That's a single record. Okay. So let's follow this mortgage through system. So you trace its journey. Mortgage is created, stored in core banking, customer information received, property information, data sent through the integration layer, saved to risk reporting database, business rule applied, database updated. So you smile. For the first time, entire system makes sense, right? So this how we can get to one single mortgage record. This is the entire journey. Okay. So the data engineer's advice. So before the meeting ends, Rachel give you one piece of advice. A lead business system and doesn't memorize every SQL command. They ask smart question like which system owns this field? Why does it value match? When was the data last refreshed? So is the field mandatory? Can this value ever be null? We'll understand what are these. How do we validate this business rule? Those questions make you valuable. Okay. So your meeting summary, the mortgage data comes from where the data source system, what is the data mapping document is, how SQL validates business requirement, how to identify missing data, how to identify duplicate data. So if you don't know the query, that's okay. You just need to ask this question. Um, what what will have to do? Like you need to handle this one. You need to capture this requirement in your user story. That's why I'm mentioning, right? So you don't to worry about the query. Developer can write the query. So you need what will happen if the data is missing. So remember, we need to include in the database, but we need to flag it that one. But your job is to ask. This summary is very important for you. How to identify duplicate records, very important. How to trace a mortgage from source system to dashboard, right? So, Sarah, stop by your desk. Excellent work today. Tomorrow we'll begin designing the API contract between our source system and the credit risk reporting platform. So you close your laptop and the successful day as a lead business system analyst. Your homework is complete the following exercise using the mortgage example from today's lesson. Identify the source system for each field. Mortgage number, customer name, property value, outstanding balance, past due. Explain why data mapping is important. Why should happen if customer name is missing. What should happen? What would a business system analyst run? Why would a business system analyst run a SQL queries? Name 3 data quality issues that could impact a risk report. Write your answers before continuing. Okay. So next, what is coming? Lesson 9. We work with SA to lead for the API integration. You will learn what is an API request look like, what is an API response contain, REST APIs, JSON, request response mapping, API error handling, authentication, API document. By the end of the lesson, you will be able to confidently discuss API during a business system analysis, even if you have never written a single line API code. Okay, so this is coming next before we go to next lesson. So this is lesson number 9, which is not the API one, the lab. Okay, so now we need to understand what we discussed in the previous one, right? So we created we store data, where we store, how tables related, how the business rules translate into data, how to validate information. Use these all we discussed, right? Now let's understand this one before we create anything. Okay, So we are going to use SQL Lite here. So go to Google and type DB browser for SQL Lite. So you see DB browser for SQL Lite, SQL Lite. Okay. So here click download based on your setup, Windows or Mac. Go head over to the right link here. So if you are using Windows, I guess this is the 64-bit. If you are using the latest one, so download this one. I'm not sure, no one has 34 now, but 32 you can say check your setup based on that. Just click this link. Okay, so I'm using a Mac OS, so I click this one. I already installed, but this is how it's download. So just go to download or double click, you see. So you know how to install, right? So grab it and put it in the application. So I'll already download this one. So this is how you have to download. So once you download, you can move to trash, so it will automatically grab to trash. So this is my SQLite. So you can go to search and you can open DB browser for SQLite. That's how you need to open. Okay, let me close because it's already dark here. So when I type DB browser for SQLite, okay, so it's open. Okay, so you can see here two things, right? New database, right? First, what is a new database? So before I explain these things, okay, uh, let's ask in the Google. Okay, so just activity for us. What is a database? So just go to Google. I just type this in. Database is just, I'm just reading answer coming from Google. Okay, so a database is structured system for storing and organizing data so it can be easily accessed, managed and updated. Okay, so but we'll understand what's the database in our own way. Okay, so I hope you can see my desktop here. I'll right click and I'll open a new folder here. So let's rename this folder. Okay, so this is a folder. Okay, so now I want to create a file here, right? So I can grab a file here. So here you see I have a BSA file. Let me grab this one. So now you can see this is a folder. Inside this folder I have a file, right? That's the file I'm using here. So database is the folder where you store the data. That's what the explanation is saying, right? So database is structured system for storing and organizing data. Can I have multiple folders here? Right, I can have, right? I can bring this one too. So we can, database is like a folder, right? Structure system storing and organizing data so it can be easily accessed. So we have different folders, right? We create folders and we store files inside it. We can create multiple files, right? You can store your picture and anything. That's the same concept when it's come to database also. Okay, so next question, we have here tables. Okay, let's go to Google. I know you already know, just type and read it, just refresh our memory. So table is a basic element of relational database. It stores data in tabular format, which means the system organizes data into rows and columns. While tables are smaller to folder because they store in information, they are different in that each table store information about a specific subject. Okay, so let me explain here. Okay, so tabular format means it's row column. So here this is a row. You can see, let me open this 1. So this is easy. So I can create a table here. Let me see. Okay, yeah, I have table. Unfortunately, it's created. Let me right click table to write. Okay, so you see this one is column 1, that's G H. This is the column 1, column 2. So this one is the row, right? So name, okay. So this one, okay, something like that. It's just a simple record, right? So you can have column, okay, column 1. We can have these columns here. Instead of I write here, we can have this name column. We can copy here. Okay, we can have subject. We can have, sorry, we can have marks here. We can have grade here. I like the color. Okay, let's copy this one. Okay, so these are the columns. So the one record, this is one record. Okay, so what subject is T A? Okay, so I can have Ram. So what he got for data science, he got 765. So maybe he's getting a B plus, like that, right? So each, this is a record, this is a row, right? This is column, right? So this is the tabular format they are talking about. Okay, so now let's move on to our next question. Rows and columns we understand. Primary keys. Okay, so this is very important. Primary key. Okay, so primary key is a column. You understand what is the column, right? So this is the column. K is name is a column, subject is a column, marks is a column. Okay, so primary key is a column or columns in a database table with values that uniquely identify each row or record. For example, employee ID column could be primary key in table 4 employee information. Okay, so if you go to database, if you want to create here, every table has a primary key. So the primary key is uniquely identified. Maybe here we can insert one column, student ID. Okay, so 1 2 3 is my 4 5 6 is so student ID is like a date of birth, right? So it's a unique number, right? Unique reference number for each record, right? I can have multiple subject, right? So I can have 1 2 3. Maybe I can have Python. Sorry, my name. I can have Python. My next subject. This time I'll give 85. So, or maybe an A plus. I'm good. Okay, so you see, I can have, we will have multiple record for one customer or student or anything, right? But in the, so this the student table, let's name it student. Student table. Okay, so we can have multiple records, but how do we identify this? Because we can have same name JJ, right? Like maybe we have JAYJ, right? So it sounds like this J has 6, 7, 8, 7, 9. The same thing. Even this J also have the same result, like me. Okay, so you see, it sounds like same name, but it's a different record, right? Different customer, different student, right? So that's why the primary key is important. It's a uniquely identified. So that's when you are creating table, when you are working with writing requirements, database related. Otherwise, what will happen if you don't have a primary key? It will keep on creating duplicate records. So if you don't enforce what is the primary key here, so I might have two records this for the same thing, right? So 1 2 3 1 2, I cannot have two records, right? Duplicate records are not allowed. So just the student table, you see, if it is come the bank data, um, let's say this is the check table. Okay, one example, check table. As a customer, I'm just using example. Okay, as a customer, let's say this the check 1 2 3, I deposited amount of $100. Okay, forget about the grade. Okay, so I deposited, so this is cashed or like approved. I got the cash. So the fraudster, what is doing, he also creating, somehow he's get access to my file, and he tried to deposit the same check. He steal the check from my house somewhere, and he's tried to deposit using my account, or he's depositing in account. So name, let's say name is same name, people have the same spelling, right? But the check number is the unique primary key here, because check check is only one unique check, right? Like a one check issued for one particular customer, right? So if the other guy also J and the fraudster, and if we deposit this check 1 2 3 and for $100, so database automatically check whether this check has been cashed. It's not look for the name, it's looking for the primary key and the check the amount, right? Primary key is the check number, and see is there any unique record in the database already, right? What's the status? Approved. So this is fraud. Okay, or like it will tell duplicate, right? The second record it can catch. So these are some use cases when you're writing requirements. So you have to ask what is the primary key, how to handle the duplicate record. Okay, so this is very important as a BSA when you're handling database related requirements. Let's continue our next one, foreign key. Okay, so let's go to I just go into alter, it's already coming. Let me replace this one. Okay, so foreign key is the link one table to another table. Okay, so in a database, a foreign key column in a database table points to column with unique values to another often primary key, right, to create ways of cross-referencing two tables. So let's go to our example. Let's say we have these two tables, right? So maybe this is my payment. Okay, so we have student number here. Let's say let's change this one, this table. student fees table. Okay, just make it simple. Okay, so student ID we don't have for each subject. Instead of fees status. Okay, so delete. Okay, so let's say for data science, this program, this course, did I pay this one? How much is the fee? Okay, let's say $1,000. Status is paid. Okay, so how do I know? How do we know? Let's say there is because there is a reference. You see the same thing status here, right? The fees, there might be other columns, right? So here subject is there, name is there. So what is the unique here? Student ID we have here and here also, right? We have subject, but instead of subject, because so student ID is 1 to 1, right? 1 to 1 mean 1 to 1. So when you are because this primary key student ID is the primary key for us, right? Both the table. So this primary key is appear in the student fees table too, right? So we call as this student ID relatively like a primary key and the foreign key in the student table, because these two table we can link, like you heard joins, right? We can join using the foreign key, but the basic idea, we should have a primary key. If you have the primary key, the primary key is column is appeared in different table, multiple tables, we can call that that column as foreign key too. So foreign, the student ID is a foreign key to student table, that column. Okay, is it confused? What is primary is unique column. That unique column can appear in different tables, so we can call it interchangeably, like foreign key, primary key as a foreign key as a primary key. Okay, so you got the idea, right? So we can have third table, maybe customer contact sorry, student contact information. So we can have parents name, parents email. So here we don't have status, contact info, who is guardian, guarantor or parent, anything, right? Like what's the status? So we don't have subject here, right? These things can be happen. So we can have the same primary key in different tables. So now you see this primary key is foreign key to student fees table, and here student contact table, right? So this primary key is now foreign key to student fees table and student contact table, right? You got the idea, right? Okay, so now where we are, so relationship, I start talking about relationship. Let's go to Google first and understand the relationship. Okay, okay, so a table relationship works by matching data in key fields, often field with the same name in both tables. In most cases, these matching fields are primary key from one table which provide unique identity for each record. A foreign key is to another table. Okay, I don't know if you understand, but you see, I'll explain to you. So I started. So there is one thing, one to one, right? So 1 to 1 mean it's only one, right? The student ID is 1 to 1 to relationship, right? Because I can I draw this one? Draw. Let's see. I don't know if I can. So this is the student ID is why I'm saying one to one. It's we have only one unique ID, right? This is one to one. So we have another concept called let me remove this one. Let me go to home. Can I select now? Okay. So one to many. So one to many. Here you see I have J, the student name can have in a different table, right? How to one to many. You see, it's appeared in the student table. It's appeared in a student fees table. It's appeared in student contact table. So one to many. Right? You got the idea, right? How this is working. So how do I get that draw? Okay, let me get another pen. So I think it's very big. Let me have it smaller. Okay, so name is one too many. Okay, so this is one too many, and same red color we have one to one. Okay, I think that's make thing worst. Okay, you got the idea, right? So relationship is nothing but same columns can be one to one relationship or have one to many relationship, right? So this just get an idea. So there is other relationship. This is more than enough to just understand. Again, I'll just read the description. A table relationship works by matching data in key fields, often field with the same name in both the table, right? That's the same name, right? Student ID, same name. That's a one-to-one relationship. You got right. In most cases, these matches fields are the primary key, right, from the one table. So this is a primary key we are talking about, right? In most which provide unique identity for each record. A foreign key is in another table, right? So this is a foreign key. So one to many, because this is not a primary key but still can appear in multiple columns. So we can have one column in many tables, right? One to many. You got the idea, right? Okay, let's go to next one. So we learn primary key, foreign key, relation, data types. Okay. Okay. So data type is an attribute. Okay, don't worry if you don't know. That is specify the type of data that the object can hold. Integer data, character data, monetary data, date and time, binary string. Okay, so what is that, right? Like let's understand from here SQL, right? So where is okay data? Okay, here. Okay, I don't need to go to data. Just need to go to home. Okay, so here we have, you see, in general we have text, right? Like this is a text. If you go, we type alphabetical, right? Like a text. We have number, right? We can make it currency. We can make it accounting data. So we have different type of information, right? Even we can make a time. We can make percentage, fraction, scientific text. In Excel, you see, we have different data. Like think analogy, right? We have different candies. Like we have chocolate, toffee, like soft candies, right? Like different. It's the same category is same. It's a data. It's a candy, right? Same like that. We have different candy, different. So in SQL also, database concept also, every field has a different data type. You're gonna see in a while. Okay. So next one, data SQL queries. Okay, let me type. SQL table. SQL table is the basic element. The SQL database. Okay, let's understand what's SQL query. Okay, this is what I'm looking. So SQL queries, also known as SQL commands. So SQL allow user to easily add or retrieve, update, delete, aggregate, and otherwise manage data in a relational database. Okay, so we can SQL is structured query language, right? That's a programming language we use to interact with data. Right here, you are using Excel, right? Like Excel is a program, right? It's a program we work with numbers or another data type, right? Same like that. So database, the SQL, we can have MySQL, Oracle, different type of NoSQL databases. Like we have different type of databases, right? We use to store and retrieve the data. The program we use we call as SQL, right? It's the same. Got it, right? SQL, structured query language. SQL, some people call SQL or SQL is same thing. Okay, that's the program we use to interact with data. So what does it mean we interact? Like data is stored in because you see in your file example, right? Where's your file? Okay, so this folder, user is not manually opening, like I'm double clicking and opening these files, right? We can use a program programmatically. We can do our things. Let's say I want to count how many tabs in this first BSA file, right? Like what I can do, I can double click and open because I have user interface, right? GUI. I can do manually, but otherwise I can write a small Python code to programmatically read and give me the result on my computer screen, right? So SQL is like that one. So instead of we manually do a task, we can programmatically write queries, SQL statements, right? The SQL statements, and we can do, right, what user we can add table. Mostly we are retrieving mean fetching, right? For our database we are building, so we need to store the data, right? After evaluation, after like see if the data is past due more than 90 days. If the past due file and account is active, and we need to store it in the REST database, right? And we need to apply the business rule. If it is equal to greater than 90 days, we need to store there, right? So that's adding, right? Either write, which is adding, or reading, which is retrieving, or update, right? So this type of activity we will be using a program called SQL, structured query language. That program help us to read or fetch the data or write the data programmatically. Okay, where we are now. Okay, so many explanation we need. Okay, did we read data validation? No. Okay, so we are here. It is data base data validation. Okay, so data validation is process of verifying that the data is clean, accurate, and ready for use, right? The valid data falls within permitted limit or ranges, conform specified data formats, or free inaccuracies, adheres and organize their own specific validation criteria. So what does it mean? We go to this example, right? So let's say I want to create a dashboard, these three tables, right? But I can write queries like select statement on each of this one. I can combine, like I can write a join command and combine this table, and I can run, right? Otherwise, what I can do, I can select data, whatever data I need. I can store it in like store it in one another database, right? Like a central database, like a warehouse, right? Maybe dashboard student. So let's say I want to know every student final what you call overall GPA. So I don't need the overall GPA, right? I need overall GPA for each student. So student name. So I need to write aggregation command, right? Statement. So we need to calculate how many subjects J taken, and run the total score, and do the other applicable calculations, and put the overall GPA, right? How much point is there so far? 2.89, or like closer to 3 or 4. Uh, so in order to do, we need like data from different table, right? For this case, we don't need to combine two tables. Just giving an example. Maybe can we issue final transcript for this student, right? Generate transcript, but can we issue, right? Because if I don't pay off, I need to see my other records and everything, right? So um, for answer this question, data validation, because we store the data in different format, right? So for example, this is text data. This marks in integer, or like a whole number, or float, different format, right? Like a decimal format, this one, right? So we need to convert, like if we are going to combine this data, we want to make sure we have to bring this data in a common format. So this data we need to validate, like let's say this database only store numeric, here only the student name and the numeric value, right? So here we have grade in string text data, we have marks in number, right? So if you are going to combine these two, right, we want to make sure if it is only accepting this one, so we should use this column, marks column only, not the grade column, right, to calculate this one. So something like that. So data validation is nothing but we want to make sure data in the right format before we send to the target database. It's just technically is cleaning. Okay, so that's it. So now you learn the basic what you need in order to work with database table. So now let's understand the architecture, and let's run the practical lab, and we can close the lesson. Okay, so without further delay, so first we need so customer table. We need customer table. We need mortgage table from the we are going to take customer information from customer table, mortgage detail from the mortgage table. Okay, so first the job is creating the database. Again, as a business analyst, we don't need to create, and your developer does not need to create. It's already exists, like maybe there is a different team, database team, so we need to submit request. We need to give a database schema. Schema nothing but it's how the table and the columns looks like, what is the relationship, what is the primary key, everything, data type and everything. Someone has to write the technical spec. So as a BSA, business analyst, you don't need to write. Technical lead or solution architect, someone can give, or the developer can create this one, but you just need to say the data requirements, what is needed, and the data types and everything. Okay, so again, you don't need to think. You are not alone, so you work with developer and solution architect, get these things done. Okay, so now let's create the database just to learn. If you want to practice, So here when you open SQL browser for Lite, first you need to have a database to create it in order to work. Okay, so I'm creating a database here. So select your where you want to create this database. So I have a file here in the desktop. So database. So here only you need to write database name only, okay, because the DB the program, the SQLite program will enter. Okay, so this file name, I'm going to copy the same credit risk reporting DB. Okay, uh, okay, so let's save this one. So now it's immediately asking to create a table. Okay, so you have two way, like why I chose SQL browser for SQLite, because if you are not familiar with how to write SQL statement, that's okay. You can still use the user interface here, right? How? So this blinking here is asking to type the table name. So we are going to execute the creating the step number 2. So we created the database. Okay, so now we are creating the table, customer table. So in order to do, you can type the table name, or you can come here and type if you know how to write, but just skip that one. You can just simply type here. Okay, so what the table name is, customer. That's it. You see, the whatever we type, it's capturing here. That's the beauty of this SQLite. Okay, so now next one is we have the table name and we need to add columns. So what columns we need here? Customer ID, customer name, province, and customer type. Okay, um, add sorry, here field 1. So it's asking the field 1, which is column 1. Okay, the column 1, customer ID. Okay, so I'm following this one. So here you see, remember data type we learned, right? If you click this drop down, we have text and numeric and integer, right? So customer ID is integer, like a whole number. So we are selecting this one. Okay, so here it's asking, you see primary key well learned, right? PK stand for primary key. So I'm taking this one. Can this, so here this cannot be null, right? Null mean cannot be empty. So I would recommend you to have this one, but I will just skip this one, don't worry. Okay, cannot be null. So we are just following this one. Okay, primary key. If you want to add one more field, just click field 2. Next one is customer name. So if you're wondering, do we need hyphen? No, I'm just following this one, so that's why. Okay, you can type whatever name you want. Okay, add. So next, province. So text. So you see just keep on adding this one. Okay, your query is building. Add customer type. Okay, so this text field 2. Okay, we have only one primary key. Okay, one table, only one primary key. So you see the statement is closed. So create is the keyword, and this is the table name. Create table, table name, and your fields. Okay, now I'm going to click OK. So we have one table created, and that's the customer table, and we have no data yet. Okay, so now so we want to store this data. Let's say we have two records. Okay, customer name and province. We want to store. So how to store? Right now, if you go to table, like browse table, so you have customer name here. You see your columns are empty, right? So let me make it this one little bigger. So this the column, customer name, province, customer is blank here. Nothing is there because there is no data. So how to so let's create the mortgage table also first, one more table, then we can insert data. Okay, so step number 3, I'm going to follow this one. So instead of, now you know how to create, you can go to here and create table, you want to create like that, or you can go here and you can type this command. Okay, so let's type this one and see if it is working. Okay, um, okay, I don't want to get confused this stage. Okay, let's complete this one first, creating manually, then we can go to SQL. Okay, so I'm going to use the same thing. Here we are going to we have the table, so here now I'm going to type. So if you are a beginner, it's okay, so you have to have the same spelling. Okay, so now we can add the first field, mortgage ID, mortgage mortgage ID. We have this text field, and it's the primary key. Okay, so we have one more field, customer ID, because I'm holding the mic and typing, it's difficult for me. So one more field, oh sorry, I think I didn't, did I add customer ID? Sorry, customer, okay, so field number 3, balance, I'm following this one. Okay, so we have a decimal here, we don't have a decimal here, we will use just numeric. Okay, and one more field, days past due, so we have integer, that's good. Okay, oh, did I click that one? Okay, I have to enter, sorry, days, okay, enter, and field 5, status, test text, excellent. Okay, so we have primary key, okay, we have foreign key, customer ID also. Okay, so here customer ID is the foreign key here. So this is not null, primary key, this is auto increment, unique key, I don't see here foreign key. Okay, so let's have the foreign key here, go to this one, add the foreign key here, customer ID, sorry, customer ID, I need to remove this one. Okay, customer ID is the foreign key here. I need to type the same spelling. Okay, okay, foreign key, customer ID. Okay, so now I think it should appear here. Okay, here is the one, customer ID, we need to select. Okay, so I double click, I selected. So here we can see we have added customer ID, right? Okay, let me come back. Okay, remove. Okay, so here, how to get this one? Sorry. All right. Okay, I got you now. Okay, so remove. Go to fields. Okay, customer ID. We want to bring as a foreign key here, right? So customer ID. I saw we saw let's type at least customer ID. Okay, I typed this one. Creating a message database needs in the create table. Okay. Okay. Okay, it's already there. This one, customer ID. Let's remove this guy. Let's create. Okay. Okay, I don't know. I'm not able to add this one. So let's browse the table. Okay. So we have customer. We have mortgage. So edit program. Okay. Okay, not this one. Okay. So never mind. You got the idea, right? Because I have difficulty to create the foreign key for the mortgage, but we just want to just want to show you the database data. Okay, so we don't need to waste time. But if someone is able to create the foreign key for this table, just put it in the table. Okay, I'll spend some time, see how can I use this one. Okay, so now we successfully create these two tables. Let's move on to inserting data, step number 4. Okay, so now which table you want to insert, right? That's the main question. Okay, so in store, the keyword is here. Sorry, it's closed. So here, insert into customer. So first go to so I'm going to use execute SQL queries. Okay, so this is the command you are going to use. Okay, so just I can give you these queries in the chat. Okay, so we are going to okay, close. So I'm going to type insert, use the uppercase. Here it's automatically coming. Use your tab, insert. Okay, into. So next one, the keyword into. Okay, okay, into. This is which table we want to use, right? So we want to into customers. Okay, space. So it should come your table automatic customer table. Okay, and values, type values. Okay, so this is what the first one. Okay, so now data is going to insert into customer table. So here you have to give the same structure here. Okay, let's I'm copying this one. So what it's mean, we if you go back and see our table we created, right? Like first we need to have customer ID, customer name, uh, province, right? Province. Why do we have mortgage? This is mortgage, right? So we don't have the status. We have only 3 columns, so this data is wrong. So we just need to remove this individual. Okay, so we have only 3 column only, right? Okay, and let's insert and see. So you need to close the SQL statement here. You see, and this one there is a sign here. So now what you need to do, you need to execute SQL. So run okay, so here is the play button. Execute this. Let's select this one and execute. Finish with errors. Result table has 4 columns but 3 values supplied. Let's go and check our database. Sorry, the table. Oh yeah, so we have customer type. That's right, so I was wrong. So you remember, like, I didn't know that we have the customer type, so we only provided 3 columns, right? That's why it's saying error. So I was wrong. So that data should, let me copy this one again. Let me go to database again. Okay, so this is what we need to give. So let's select again, run. Okay, so execution finished without error. So now we can browse the data, and you can see the record was entered here, right? First record was entered. So we are good to go to enter other records too. So I'm gonna insert this record. I'm going to delete this one because we already insert this one, and we can enter because it's separated by comma, and we are going to enter the next record. Okay, clear. Okay, now we are going to select, and we expect to see 2 more record. Okay, execute, and we can browse the data. We can see the 3 columns are entered. Okay, all right. Okay, so now we are going to insert data to mortgage values. Okay, so we go here, SQL, and let's type again one more time, then we'll understand. Okay, so what's the keyword? Insert, and when you type it will appear. You just need to press tab, into, select, enter, space, the table name. If you have the right table name, it will come. So we have the mortgage table, it's appearing, space, and you need to type uppercase values, so it's coming. So now let's enter the mortgage record. So this time we are going to keep everything in oh, my mouse is not working. Hold on, let's need the charge. Not wrong. Okay, it's working. Okay, copy this one. Okay, okay, let's copy the other record. So again, you have to give the right data. So let's say if you don't give the data here, just leave it empty, so it will insert into the next column. Okay, so you can practice around this one. So if you remember the text field, we have to give the starting codes, single code or double code, where whatever is red, it's text field. Number you don't need to provide, and comma separated. Okay, so you can play around this data entering. Good site I can recommend you. I forgot the site, sorry. W3 School. Okay, so if you want to practice W3 School, they have good examples. Okay, so now we are good to go. Let's select everything and execute. So without no errors, 3, so we can browse the data. can go to mortgage. Okay, we can see all three records are entered. Okay, now good, right? So now how you are viewing the data, you just go here and you are selecting, right? But this is not the real case, right? When you're working with databases. So let me delete this one. Oh, you can have this one, but when you're executing queries, you can just need to select which one you need to execute. Okay, so we use select statement to select the data. Okay, so let's see, we want to see everything from the mortgage table. So I'm going to type select keyword. Select means read. Okay, so when you type this one and it's appearing, the next you are entering the asterisk here on your keyboard. So this means it will give all the records. Like, what do you mean all the record? Here we have different column, right? If you want to see only the mortgage number and the mortgage balance, you need to type like here, instead of asterisk, you need to type mortgage ID, right? The mortgage ID and comma balance, right? That's, you need to write balance. Next you need to type from, right? From is the keyword and the table name. What's the table name? Just type mortgage and it will come mortgage, and you need to close the statement. Okay, so if you execute this command, sorry, I need to select this one. Okay, so that's why it's giving error. Okay, so now we see only the mortgage number and the balance, right? Mortgage and balance. We don't have the past due. There is one column here, past due. So if you want to see all the columns, either you can type past due, but that's not the ideal case, right? So you can instead of manual work, you can just put asterisk here and you can execute, and it will display all the columns. You see, right? Whatever it's showing in the mortgage database, here it's showing, I think this example is wrong, but we want to see everything, right? What is the customer status and everything, all the record. Like the same thing, right? You go to here and view the data, read the data. Instead of that one, you can just write one SQL command, select query, and you can read the data. Okay, so here now we have an example to write join the data, right? Like information. So now show me mortgage information with customer names. This query understand the relationship. Okay, so before that one, you can do the same thing. If you want to see the data for customer table, you write the same select command and you write asterisk from, type from customer, right? What is our customer table? Close the statement and select, and you can see this data. Okay, so now we have both the table. Now let's do a join. We write the select command. Okay, and I'm following this one. Okay, so we want to get from mortgage table, we want to get mortgage ID. Okay, so what columns you need to write here mortgage ID and comma and customer table. So I will give the reference here, because since we are using the two different table here, so I'm typing mortgage mortgage tab comma. So these are the columns here. From the mortgage, I need mortgage ID, right? So I'm going to select mortgage ID comma. So next one, I'm going to select one customer name. So customer table dot, just put dot. What I need here, I need customer name. So I select customer name. Easy, right? And again, from the mortgage table, we need so type the table name, press tab and press dot, and press balance. So I'm going to select balance here and comma. I need mortgage past due. Okay, days past due. So here you can see days past due. Okay, from which table. First we write mortgage table, the left table we are writing mortgage. If you are wondering which table I should write first, customer table or mortgage, so we are starting from mortgage ID. So whatever that field you are selecting first, type that first. Okay, so let me make a little bit bigger so that you can see this one. Okay, so we selected this one. In the next one, after this, enter. So here we are entering join. Okay, join command. So we are joining with customer table. Easy, right? So we write from all the details. So if you are wondering which table I should select to from, so we said whatever the column you selected first, that's the left column, and the right column is join customer. So remember we studied the foreign key, right? The foreign key, you know, the customer ID is the foreign key. It appears in the both tables, right? So we have to write one more keyword on. So the table foreign key, you have to write mortgage dot customer ID equal to customer dot customer ID. Okay, that's it. Okay, let's hopefully this work. So we are joining two table. Let me select the statement and execute. Voila, boom, this works, right? So you see we have mortgage ID from the mortgage table, customer name we got it from customer table, we get the balance from the mortgage table, we get the past due from the mortgage table, right? So we use the join command, customer on this the foreign key. Very easy, simple step, anyone can write. So if you have the right data, okay. So now let me show you how to add a filter, which is the where condition. In our business requirement, this is a business requirement. Okay, so now we'll go down. So remember our business requirement, past dues days greater than or equal to 90, we want to filter, right? Because we need to name it as a high risk. Okay, so again we are going to use the same select command, select. I'm following this one. Okay, so here we are not joining, only we are going to use the mortgage table. So we are good here, so we don't need we don't need to use the asterisk because we don't need all the data, right? We just need we are not all, we just need mortgage ID. Sorry, so select mortgage ID and comma, we need days past due, put the comma here, days past due, it's appeared, and which table, from mortgage, right? So you have to give the right spelling, then it will come. And now enter one more condition, a keyword, where, uppercase WHERE, where, and which column we need to apply this one, days past due. Okay, so let's type the column name where you need to apply your filter condition. Use greater than, equal, and number 90. These are basic. Okay, so now we should expect only the past due. Sarah Brown is past due greater than 90 days, so she should appear, right? The mortgage ID. You need the customer name, so you need to make a join here. Okay, so because mortgage, in the mortgage table we don't have the customer name, right? So we have the mortgage ID only. Okay, I don't know if you have mortgage customer ID. Yeah, we don't have customer ID, that's right. So so if you want to have the name, you can have the name by joining, you know how to join this one. Okay, so you can just simply use this where condition between here also. Okay, then after here you can use this one, and so that you can get your filter data. Okay, so data quality investigation, the business issue, right? So let's investigate, do we have duplicate mortgage, right? So we want to avoid duplicate. I don't want to make you complicated here. So what we are doing, we are counting all the mortgage and group by the mortgage ID, and if the mortgage ID count greater than 1, right, like because everyone has a single mortgage ID, right? Let me show you this one, what I'm talking about. Okay, so here we have, we will count the mortgage IDs, right? So it's going to take each mortgage ID. Okay, that's what the count is going to do here. Okay, so you see, count is going to do, and from the mortgage table, then we are grouping mortgage by ID. So what we are saying, having count, right? Let's say this, let's say M1001 has 1, so that means 2, it become 2, right? So we are saying if greater than 1, show to us, right? So if you have 2 record M001, it will show you that's a duplicate record. That's how we are identifying. You got my point, right? Let's execute, and let me show you. For our case, I don't know if you have 2 mortgages. I don't think so. We have 2 mortgages. Maybe we can insert 1 record and I can show you. So let's quickly write this one. So we are going to have select duplicate. So in SQL you can write comments duplicate record. So if you write like the duplicate records, I don't know if my voice is clear or not because I'm not holding the mic. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. So here select so what we want to select here, mortgage ID. Okay, and we are going to use a aggregation function here, count. We want to count everything on the mortgage ID, and from mortgage, and if you want to write together, that's okay. So we are group, another command, group by mortgage ID, again mortgage ID. So we are saying uppercase. Okay, having count same. Okay, so count will go greater than 1 and show to us. That's it. Okay, so we don't expect anything if I'm not wrong. Line number 28, select mortgage ID. Okay, near at syntax error. Okay, okay, maybe I missed the comma here. Okay, let's see. We have the right one, mortgage ID, count from mortgage, saying line number 28. Okay, select mortgage ID. Okay, let's write again. Okay, let's delete this one. I don't know if it is this causing error. Select okay, I will copy this one so that we don't need to worry about this one. Select, okay, just for accuracy, mortgage ID, and we have count, copy. Don't worry, I can give you this all commands. Okay, so from mortgage, because when you type, we don't know, sometimes we do mistake, right? Okay, so I can go group by mortgage ID. Okay, and having count greater than 1. Okay, let's see if there is a type error. Okay, let's select this one. Okay, there we go. We don't have any record. Okay, I don't know, maybe that it was a type error, that's why it was not coming. Okay, so but you got idea. Okay, so I will show you one. Let's insert one duplicate record here. Okay, this is mortgage table, right? What I'm going to do, I'm going to insert this Sarah twice. Okay, one more time. So let's delete everything here. Okay, so okay, let's have this both of them together. Okay, so we will have execute these two. Oh yeah, because it's failing. We have the unique constraint, right? So it's not allowing us to enter because it won't accept. So what we have to do, we have to modify the database structure so that we can change this one. Okay, browse data. Here we can go to mortgage table. Okay, what we need to do, because there is a primary key, we need to edit. So because of that, because it's not accepting the unique one. Okay, but you got the idea. This command, right? So there is no duplicate record. So even though there is duplicate record come, it's saying nothing is there. Okay, all right. Okay, so now what we have, so this one, production issue, risk database shows 50 actual. Okay. Okay, so that's the main idea. So just to summarize, so we created a database, we created tables, okay, and we insert values, we select data from the board table, we make a join here, okay, and we apply our business rule where the where condition, and we find the duplicate values. Okay, so what exercise we have here, here you can do find all active mortgages. You can see, look at our database, do we have active. So here you see, you have to use asterisk, select command, right asterisk, find active mortgages, find mortgages above 500,000. So you can write balance. Okay, so you can modify the same query. Here we have mortgage. Okay, so you have all where balance greater than 500, right, greater than or equal 500. Find all high risk mortgages, high risk consider as past due greater than 90. You can find that, and so customer name with mortgage balances. So you have to select the join to table mortgage balance, find missing customer record, right? So you can enter a value here. So let's say customer name, when you are inserting, modify one of the command when you are inserting, remove one value here, and just click execution so that you have a missing value, so you can find that one. Okay, so now you are you can say, right, you have a basic understanding, right? So you know how to validate requirements, analyze data quality, investigate defects, perform root cause analysis, and verify source system and provide accurate information. This is what the main connection is we are expecting from this lesson. So just go back to again the same lesson. I'll put the queries in the comment section. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so that's it for this lesson. Thank you everyone.